Hello and welcome to Firstpost and our special coverage on what's happening in Bangladesh. Former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been convicted by a special tribunal in Dhaka on charges related to crimes against humanity. Hasina, of course, was not in Dhaka. She's been living in a self-imposed exile in Delhi since 2024. The court has sentenced her to death, which is the maximum punishment for the charges that she faced. Her party has also released a statement completely rejecting the trial and the legal basis used by this tribunal to sentence her and her top aides. The question is, what does this verdict mean for her political future, and what are we going to see unfold in the streets of Dhaka in the backdrop of this verdict? Let me put some of these questions to my guest, Mr. Mohammad Ali Arafat, who's a former information minister, and he served in the cabinet of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, so he understands her thinking and her process very well. Thank you so much, Mr. Arafat, for speaking to us on Firstpost.
Thank you for having me.
Now, if you look at how this tribunal and this case went down, the sort of process that it followed, was it always a foregone conclusion that she would be convicted at the end of it, and it was only a question of when?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The verdict, the guilty verdict that came against her, it was a foregone conclusion. No doubt about that. The verdict that preceded the trial, basically, it was all predetermined, and everything that you saw today in the tribunal, starting from the reading of judgment by the judges and all the prosecution team sitting out there, even the defense lawyer that was appointed by the state, and their actions and reactions, they were all just actor. They're staging a drama, basically, to show the rest of the world as if they're serving justice, but they're not. So this is what it is. It was and everybody out there, they're politically linked with all the opposition parties of Awami League, especially the party like Jamaat-e-Islami and the AB party, which were, opposing the 1971 liberation of Bangladesh. All those people are actually part of this tribunal. So there's a completely politically motivated proceedings.
Right. Let's also talk about the quantum of punishment. We are not talking about any suspect here. Sheikh Hasina is a former prime minister. She's the daughter of the founder of Bangladesh. So at any point did you think that perhaps she will be convicted on these charges, but at least the death penalty will not be granted to her or her aides, considering that this is not just any other suspect?
Well, no. See, as I mentioned, all those people, those put together for doing this drama, they're all anti-liberation forces. They have the grudges. They have the, the attitude, the revenge kind of a mindset against us. So they would go all the way to the highest level, and that's what they did. They have these grudges against Awami League for liberating the country. They have the grudges against Awami League for constituting this tribunal and trying the war criminals, those who belong to their party rather, and those who collaborated with the Pakistani army and contributed to the killing of 3 million Bengalis back in 1971. So this is a kind of a rivalry. It's a rivalry of ideology. So therefore, they would have gone all the way, and we suspected that, and we knew that it was going to come like that. So we're not surprised.
Right. Now, your party has questioned the legal basis of this trial, and you've also said that this is a rigged operation to begin with. And you just reiterated those claims right now. Can you give us a sense of how this trial unfolded from your side? Were you allowed to present a lawyer? What sort of evidence, what sort of people were you allowed to call on as witnesses? How did your legal team, the legal team of Sheikh Hasina and her aides, defend your case in Dhaka?
Nobody did defend our case in Dhaka. See, this tribunal was constituted under the Act of 1973. This tribunal was created under the Act, which was basically intended to try the war criminals who, joined hand with the Pakistani army. And as I said, those who killed 3 million people, and also contributed to the, raping and many other crimes back in 1971. So this tribunal do not have any mandate to try anything else or anybody else other than that. And now those who are the defense lawyer of those war criminals, they're just, turning things around. So they have dismantled the ICT and reconstituted illegally with all the, people who are connected with the war criminals of 1971. And this is a revenge project they have taken it, politically vilify Awami League and took their revenge against Awami League. So there was there's no law or legal approach whatsoever. And just imagine, in 143 days, the entire trial got conducted. The fastest in the history of Bangladesh.
Yes. We'll come to the expedited nature of the trial, but Mr. Arafat, are you saying that Hasina and her team were not accorded a defense lawyer, which is the basic that you can expect from any democracy or any country with rule of law? Are you saying that she and her team were not allowed to have a lawyer present in the tribunal to defend themselves against these allegations?
No, not at all. They are the one appointed the lawyer for her by the state. So basically the judges, the prosecution, the defense lawyer, everyone together is one team. This was just a show, as I said.
Right. Now, one piece of evidence that the tribunal cited repeatedly to justify their verdict was the so-called transcripts and the leaked audio from July 2024. Now, your party has trashed that. Even in the recent statement from the Awami League and Sheikh Hasina, she has said that this was taken out of context. Now, I'm wondering, is the party saying that these transcripts are fabricated, or were the statements picked out of context? Which of these two is the Awami League accusing the other side of?
Okay. So the thing is, who leaked those videos and the audio clips? The prosecution team. The chief prosecutor himself claimed that they are going to do it, and there will be more audio clips coming when it was coming out. That's what he said, and it is on record. You will see in different media in Bangladesh. And what they have done, of the total conversation, they picked and chose the one that suits their purpose, you know. So basically, if you look at the entire conversation, first of all, none of the audio clips were verified, okay, by any third party or got authenticated. But even if it was true, for the sake of argument, see, they're saying that Sheikh Hasina, as the Prime Minister, she approved the lethal weapon. When did she do it? And you don't need to approve the lethal weapon, because how the law enforcement agency is going to act, it is laid out in our constitution, in the law. On the ground, in a certain situation, how they'll have to do it, and the self-defense or not, that the Prime Minister cannot, reach out to that law enforcement member and give the direction to them. That is not possible. Rather, in that audio clip, in the entire conversation, something that hide it, she expressed her concern about the students. She also ordered arrest of the violent rioters. So those things are omitted completely, and they only picked up that part where apparently she is, approving the lethal weapon, which she doesn't have to do it as a Prime Minister. So this is absolutely, a fabricated approach that they have taken just to try to prove as if she has ordered this. But just think about it. What happened in July and August? All the key point installations got attacked. How many? More than 400 police stations got attacked. Policemen were attacked and killed and slaughtered. And after their death, they were hung upside down. So in a situation like that, there might have been cases where, in the self-defense, some of the law enforcement member may have to use a lethal weapon, which is prescribed in the law itself. So that doesn't, the Prime Minister, from her level, she doesn't have to approve it, because there are so many other people all the way down. After the Prime Minister, there's the Home Minister, then the IGP, and then so many other, commanding officers in the hierarchy. So this is absolutely absurd, claiming something like that. That she is sitting on the very top. She is asking the law enforcement agency members who was, on the ground, fighting against those rioters and the violent criminals, and then she is directing them to order execution and all that. That is absolutely absurd. Right. And we saw the prison break. More than 800 people were taken out of the prison. We saw the ammunition and the arms looting. We saw the top-notch criminals and the jihadists, taken out of the jail. So we saw all those kind of criminal activities during that time. So what a law enforcement agency you think would do? There was a war waged against the state at that time. The height of the criminal activities was done from the other side. Not all of them the protesters were doing it. The students were probably not doing it, but those who infiltrated all the jihadists and the extremist element, they were doing it. All of them were not the protesters. All of them did not have the same cause. The students may have had their, the demand for the quota and all that, but the jihadis, they had a different idea altogether to fight against Awami League government. And with the students, we're talking to them. We're in the speaking term with them. We don't have to order them to, and no one has to order them to kill, because it is on record that we're talking to them. We're in a dialogue with them. But interestingly, some of the student coordinators, post-August 5th, claimed in the television that they're the one did all of this, arson attack and all the violent activities and all that. So now you tell me, they're the one admitting themselves.
Right. The court in its judgment effectively seems to be making an argument that Sheikh Hasina was the Prime Minister and therefore she takes ultimate responsibility for what happened in July, and that's the death of a lot of people. Even the death toll, though, is disputed. Now, I'd like to ask you, in the Awami League statement, Sheikh Hasina and the party makes it clear that the operational control of the security forces, everything that happened on the ground during that time, that was with the security forces and that was not personally with the Prime Minister of the country. Would you then say that the party is making a case that yes, excesses and some mistakes were committed in July 2024, but you can't put all of that on the feet of the Prime Minister? A lot of it was down the command of the military and security chain. Is that what the Awami League is trying to say?
This is the reason why Awami League, especially Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, she constituted an independent judicial commission to investigate all of these activities or everything that happened. Why did she do it? She took up that responsibility on her shoulder. That's why she committed to, make sure that an impartial investigations are done, and then she wanted to make sure that justice is served. She took up that responsibility, of course. But what Yunus has done, he has dismantled that commission that we constituted, right? Not only he dismantled, in last 15 or 16 months, Yunus administration, have they served justice? They are only using this to, as a tool and weaponizing it to suppress Awami League. All those Awami League senior leaders and members, more than 100 of the ministers and the MPs are in jail for last many months. You think those people were the murderers? Where are the real murderers? And one of the advisors of Yunus administration, he himself claimed that there were snipers. They were attacking the law enforcement members with the 7.62 bullets. That means he claimed that civilians were armed. Who were those civilians? Who were killing those people? They claimed that, even the kids, the the children at home, those were not coming out on the street. They got shot and killed. Why on earth a government would want to do that, you tell me? Those kids are not the threat for us. So basically, as Yunus himself mentioned, inadvertently maybe, that there was a meticulously designed plan. So all those meticulously designed plan was to keep killing people, piling up the dead bodies and blaming onto our government and, creating the anger and the rage among the people so that they can topple our government. I warned it even before 5th August, many times as the information minister, and in many of my interviews, that this is what they're, getting to. Their objective is not the quota or not to remove, the discrimination. Their objective was to topple the government. And this is how they're moving forward, and it has been proven now. Because all their demands with regard to the quota, we accepted it long before. Why they had to still go ahead and, call for the political programs, creating a situation so that the extremists and the jihadists can infiltrate and create a havoc. So if you look at it very deeply, you see what kind of conspiracy and the meticulously designed plan was at play behind it, to put all the blame on Sheikh Hasina.
Right. Let's move away from 2024 now to what could possibly happen next. What legal options do you have right now to perhaps challenge what this tribunal has said today? And more importantly, what political options do you have? Are we going to see the Awami League supporters hit the streets in protest? Are we going to see similar lockdowns like we saw on Friday when the verdict was first expected? What's your strategy now that the verdict is out?
See, the thing is, all this legality and everything, it is also part of politics from their part. If there was the due course of law, legal process were fair and transparent, then we would have thought about, some legal actions. But it is all politically motivated. So it's all about politics. The country has gone to the hands of the anti-liberation forces and to the Islamist and the extremist. And Jamaat-e-Islami is on the steering right now. They have infiltrated into the administration and virtually running the country. Yunus is basically backed by all these extremist forces. So here it is only the politics that we have to, we are looking at, that we have to put together all the, people of Bangladesh and mobilize them and then bring the democracy back to the country. Awami League is a political party. It's not only the oldest, but also the largest political party. This party has more than 20 million active members. This party has more than 30 million supporters. All these kind of people, and there are many people from different walks of life. They are aligned with the spirit and the philosophy that Awami League holds. So with all these people, can you keep on suppressing them? for a long time. You cannot. There will be a natural repercussion. There will be a natural ramification of all this suppression. People will eventually unite themselves, and we're trying to do that. And we'll have to get a political solution to all of this. It is not a legal solution, because Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina challenged Yunus in many of her interviews that if you have the guts, you bring these charges against me to the ICC, to the International Court. But she also said, but Yunus would never do that, because he knows that he could not control the proceedings of the International Court, right? They won't be able to stage the drama that they are doing in the ICT bidding, right? So it's not about legality of it, it's about the politics. The politics is lost. It has gone to the jihadists, the Islamists, and the anti-liberation forces. We have to bring it back to the people of the country.
Just to dwell on that point a bit more, historically, Bangladesh is a country where the streets and who controls the streets has determined who has political power in the country. So should we then expect that your party will mobilize in full strength, perhaps even hold out rallies and protests to effectively show that you're not a spent power and that you oppose this verdict and you're willing to show that power on the streets of Dhaka? Is that where things are heading next, since you say that the legal option is pointless because it's been rigged by the interim regime?
Yes. Absolutely, absolutely. Legal option is absolutely pointless. So something that you mentioned, yes, this is what we're going to do, but with the backing of the general people. Not like only based on or depending on the cadres of the party or the activists of the party. No, there will be the backing of the general people and their support. And it is already there. If you go to the people, go to the low-income people and the very general people, they want Awami League to be back, because they can see what happened in last 15 or 16 months. Yunus, and all of his associates, they used to lecture us on rule of law, on democracy, on free and fair election, inclusivity. And when they're in power, something that they have no mandate for, and they have just captured it, seized it, and then the way they're acting, looking at their performance, you can see everything they used to say, they're acting exactly opposite. So their character also got exposed. People feel betrayed. Therefore, people want us back. And that's the reason why they are blocking us from the election, because they know if there's a free and fair election and if there's a level playing ground, Awami League will be voted back to power. And that's why they don't want that to happen, right? Awami League, Jatiyo Party and other alliance, other parties that part of the Awami League alliance, the 14-party alliance and the smaller progressive pro-71 parties, they are cutting them off from the political process. This is the reason why they are doing it. Something that they say, if they would believe it, that Awami League got rejected by the people, the best way would have been to allow them to participate in the election and allow the people to reject them. But they don't believe that. They know that people are going to vote Awami League back to power, right? So this is the situation there.
And now we've seen some pictures from Dhaka of a lot of military deployment, and the idea is to effectively ensure that your party and your supporters are not allowed to protest, to show their dissent to what happened today at the tribunal. Are you in touch with your cadre down there? Are they complaining of any sort of violence from the security forces or indeed from other political parties and their volunteers in Dhaka? Are you in touch with them?
Of course, we're in touch with all of our activists and the supporters and people, and they're also in touch with each other. So it's a huge political party. There are many people part of this party and many supporters and all that. So we are all in touch with each other. But now just think about it. If Awami League was vanished, as they want to claim, then why everyone in the country, they have to put them in jail? Why more than 100 of the MPs and the ministers have to be put in jail? And why so many deployments are needed if Awami League is just, nowhere? So this tells you what? That Awami League is still a huge political force, and they're fearful of the fact to genuinely face Awami League in the political process. That's why they're putting together all the extremist, terrorist, jihadist force, and also they're trying to, use the law enforcement agencies to, suppress Awami League. But this is not going to happen for the long time.
Finally, let me just ask you about what your global playbook is, because I'm assuming this is a story that's going to be playing out for the next couple of weeks across international media. There will be countries weighing in on this verdict. There will be countries opposing it, supporting it. What is your and your party's playbook to get your message across to world capitals about what happened in Dhaka?
We just want to, tell the truth. As simple as that. We just want to tell the truth, and whatever are the facts, not the information that's being thrown out by the Yunus and his associates just to create some false narrative and try to, mislead people. As opposed to that, we're here to tell the truth and bring in the truth and the factually correct information on the table so that people can judge on their own to see what the truths are, right? That's all. We still believe in the power of truth, and the truth is in our side.
Right. Well, thank you, Mr. Arafat, for speaking to us here. And these are extremely important hours in Bangladesh, and what's happening in Dhaka is something that the whole world, and we are watching very closely. So you can keep tracking all the updates on the Bangladesh situation here on First Post. Thank you so much, Mr. Arafat, for speaking to us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Want the facts?
The latest developments?
News that gets straight to the point.
Well, we've got all three just for you. This is First Post Live, a brand new show, your window into what really matters.
Don't miss it.